GrowHeads podcast at Loud Bank.
HBG. Ooh.
What's up, everybody? I'm AC from the Loud Bank, and you just tuned into the GrowHeads podcast. Tonight we got a special show for you. My man here, Taylor, with HPG in the house for sure. And we have a man in the house that he's known as SB sometimes. He's known as Weed Jesus. He's a professor. He's the founder and the president of the the medical marijuana, the marijuana for high.
I told you, you try to say them both, it's gonna get hard.
But anyway, welcome to the show, Brandon.
Right on,
appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yeah, I appreciate
All that
it.
good puffing and all the words got me all twisted up. But it's gonna be all right. Yep.
And also the owner of the Cola Lounge.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me, y'all.
Definitely, man. We're pleased that you made an effort to come out and made sure that you came out and come on this platform and speak to the people, man. Because election time is coming up, and we definitely want to get your opinion, and we definitely was there at your event. You know what I'm saying? So we just want to talk about that and elaborate off of that, and the sky's the limit, man, when it comes down to cannabis. So whatever endeavor or anything you want to talk about, this
Some of
is
that plant talk in there for sure.
plant talk for sure. So
for sure.
yes, sir.
Right.
So
Yeah, well, I'm here for it.
we could start with when was the first time you ever smoked?
True.
How old were you?
That's a good question. All right, so the first time I ever smoked, I think I was in the 8th grade.
8th grade?
Yeah,
Definitely.
I think I was in the 8th grade. And I'm like trying to think of which time was actually my first time.
You about 14, 13?
Yeah, 13 or 14.
14.
And it was just like some ditch weed
Yeah.
from some friends.
Was it a joint? Was it a blunt?
I think the first time
Bong?
it was actually
Got bone 2 years old.
No, the first time it was out of a can.
Can.
Out of an aluminum
I
can.
done that too. I done that too.
Yep. And then shortly after was like out of an apple. It's like, you start pretty DIY at
Yeah.
that age. If you're like
Yeah,
not
'cause
buying
you can't-
papers,
you
you're not
can't-
buying
you can't buy
things. Yeah.
You're not old enough.
And so, I was just like, all right, well, and there were two girls that lived across the street from my middle school. They were bad. They were cool, but they were bad. And they were like, they always had weed. They smoked weed with their mom. So. But yeah, that was the first time. My first time was in the 8th grade, and younger than I think that a kid needs to be smoking weed. If they're not, like, it's not a medical thing.
Yeah.
But there are a lot worse things I could have been doing. Some that I was doing.
Absolutely. How was that experience, man? What was some of the effects that you got?
Well, I think that I missed that type of like kind of cartoony out of the world high. I remember.
Yeah, man.
I remember like sitting, like the giggles, and then I remember like eating Lay's potato chips until my mouth hurt.
Right.
Just plain.
Right.
And I remember watching the TV and knowing that, or not realizing how long I had been watching it, and I either didn't have the sound on, or I would be like watching like the the Spanish channel.
Okay.
Like where it'd be like Spanish commercials and stuff, and I wouldn't even notice that I'm watching something that's in a different language. I'm just like, oh yeah,
Just sitting there looking at it like,
fabuloso. I want to wash my floors. No doubt. It smells great.
So you was spaced out then. So spaced out effect, you say?
Oh yeah, man.
And so this Cola Lounge, man, that is like a heck of an idea. So being one day that just popped up, or it's just like,
Yeah, well, I mean,
how did it come about?
yeah. So I mean, I've always I loved creating experiences for people. So the bottom line, I love creating experiences for people and cultivating an environment where people feel safe and they feel joy. I just love doing that for any type of event. You know what I'm saying? And for my family or for my friends. And so it's very second nature for me to be a host with cannabis. So it's like I love hosting my friends, and I love telling them all about it, and having all of the gadgets. And yes, hospitality. It's like I love for people to come into my space and feel comfortable. And so I knew that was something so it was a natural thing. And then I also one thing that I don't talk about much is that I'm a career massage therapist of 12 years.
Okay.
I specialize in injury recovery and surgery, trauma, and stuff like that.
That's dope.
Sports,
I didn't know
sports
that.
work. Yeah,
Nice, nice.
I studied with the St. Louis Cardinals therapy team for a year, and worked with the United States men's soccer team. Like I definitely have gone in that direction pretty heavily.
I got some questions about that. It just came to my head. Like,
Yeah,
do you
but-
do adjustments or like
That's
chiropractic?
That's chiropractic.
That's chiropractic.
Now,
So that's
do
not the same. So you just
audible
massage
audible
those?
releases happen on a table if I intentionally manipulate a body in a certain way? Well, yeah, but it's like I'm not like cracking.
Okay, gotcha.
That's what we got to call it.
Right,
We're not. But yeah, so in that, I'm very focused in wellness, and like
Right.
I wanted to
Yeah,
have
for
a
sure.
space. I thought like it would be cool to have a place where people could get high, and then like medicate, and then get body work, or medicate and then get in a float tank, like a sensory deprivation tank,
Wow, okay.
or medicate and then do yoga. Or
Gotcha.
something. And so, because I knew how well that cannabis paired for a lot of my clients, even that cannabis was really helping them with their own healing journey, and so the first concept that I thought about doing for a lounge wasn't actually a lounge, but it was a wellness center. And because it was going to be a medical law that was going to be passing, because this is in 2017 or 2018, 2018 that I was thinking about it, is that I knew that it needed to be patient focused. So the first plans that I actually wrote were for a treatment center for HIV and AIDS patients.
Yes, I remember
and
that.
one for veterans.
Yes.
And so these were like my two platforms that I proposed first, right after it went legal. And I was just too ahead of myself, like nobody would sell me property or rent me property. And even though I was focusing heavily on those patient groups, like I wrote the St. Louis effort for AIDS, I talked to people at the VA, and I got support from a lot of veterans and a lot of AIDS patients. But the corporate structures just weren't ready to support something like, hey, we could set up a patient treatment center for cannabis 2 doors down from where your doctor just prescribed them to use it. And they need somewhere, they've never used it before, or maybe they're gonna have an adverse reaction from their medicine. They need to be around other people that are gonna understand that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so, and just solidarity, like
Yes.
just knowing that when they go into the space, everyone in the space, like, in order to be a member of this first space, you were to be a cancer or an AIDS patient,
Yes.
Same thing with the veterans place. It's these safe spaces for people to heal. And there's a layer of yourself that you don't let down unless you're around people that know your journey.
Yes.
So then there was the cola, and the cola was like one of my third concepts or fourth concepts, and the cola where buds meet was a play on words of the flowering side of the female cannabis plant.
And all the buds meet there.
Right, literally and figuratively. And so, also, it's like synonymous with the top tier or the top butter, like the best in the cannabis experience, right? So it's like, there's something about the cola that's even a statement about like what it is. It's like, that's the fucking cola, and so I wanted to create the cola quality of cannabis culture in Missouri and in St. Louis. It's like I wanted to be able to give something the cola quality of approval because we vetted that based on what we know to be true to our culture. Because all these different corporations and everything had to come in.
And for those that don't know, the Cola Club is a cool place. You step in there, a lot of friendly people, lots of activities and things to do. You can sit down, you can shoot a little pool. You probably can throw you some darts, play you some cards, some chess and checkers.
Video games.
Yeah, video games. And what's some other good things you can do in the Cola Club?
Yeah, man. So we also have co-working. So it's like, a lot of folks will come there just to use our Wi-Fi and medicate and get work done or have meetings,
Cool.
A lot of folks during the day just enjoy somewhere that's not, they can still get coffee, they can still make a snack, they don't have to go outside or like go back to their car and then worry about coming in and people thinking they're weird because they smell like weed anymore.
Exactly.
So,
Be themselves.
yeah. So, part of it is for us in the culture to feel comfortable. And then the industry finds a really good vein there too, because they can host meetings about products and smoke them, talk about them while they're actually getting work done. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so, both sides of it benefit the culture and the industry. And that's actually what the St. Louis Cannabis Club is for, is that it is a cannabis resource network between that connects the industry to the culture.
Yes.
So it's like I knew that because this new industry was coming in, that we were here first, goddamn me.
Yeah.
So we should
Say
have a
nothing
say.
new.
Yeah, so we should have a say in what, like, a vet, there should be some sort of vetting process on who we support and why, as far as cannabis products that are coming across the counter, you know? Or if we do it all, you know, if you've got, you're a grower, a good caregiver, you know, then you're taken care of. But, so the St. Louis Cannabis Club is kind of like the parent to the COLA. And so the St. Louis Cannabis Club, we host events at places other than the COLA. We have a CBD seltzer,
Yes.
and we also have
Flavors.
Yeah. We also have services like a mobile bud bar service. So
Yes.
like elements of the COLA exist in a mobile form in the St. Louis Cannabis Club as things that you can rent for a party or for an event. We can pop up and we can do those things for you, you know.
Gotcha.
And so, and the St. Louis Cannabis Club is gonna have other babies. It's just that the COLA is the first child, so it gets all the attention.
That's cool. That's cool, man.
And it has. It's been in multiple magazines. You know, you definitely been the talk of the town. I done heard people, you know, on a business scale say, you know, they you didn't help them, like, you know, that stereotype with weed. You didn't kind of help them, like, yeah, it's okay.
It's okay.
You know, especially with you seeing your face out there and everything, and then they see a person of color, you know, that's actually doing this, and you know what I'm saying, doing it for the right cause, and then on a magazine, you know, it's just like, oh, okay, you know, because they do it behind closed doors, so it's like it's just getting, it's educational. It's just so many ways that it's just beneficial, and just, you know, it's just for the culture. It's like you was just saying, and
Right.
in the whole, man, I commend you for that.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
thank you.
right.
I appreciate that.
And not only the founder of that particular club, but I mean, he created something here, you know, you pioneered it, and of course, you know, you look forward to other people copying your model and all that good stuff eventually. They let you know you're doing
Well,
something
you know,
worthwhile.
So the St. Louis Cannabis Club is also a consulting group. So we consult people, help them on board with their own safe cannabis consumption experiences or spaces.
Cool.
So I take clients that are looking to throw parties, that are looking to start their own lounge, that are looking to start
Excellent.
cannabis party buses.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just professionals that are working, that have other businesses that are like, hey, I want to do like weed stuff with this. Like, how do I do that? You know what I'm saying? And because I've studied compliance heavily, and you know, I was a scholarship debater, which forces you to understand law and how to read it. You know what I'm saying? There are certain things that are a little bit more accessible to me with a little less effort, as far as just like trying to understand, you know, compliance and the spirit of the law versus the word of the law. It's like, yeah, maybe there are places where the word of the law doesn't exactly support us, but if the spirit of the law is heavy enough, and if you're in a place where you know that you're supported by other parts of the community, then you know that, yes, you might be in a gray area, but if you're providing an actual service for your community and you're transparent about that, motherfuckers respect that. You know? And so that goes so far, and that's part of what I help people with, is like building community relationships. It's like so many people just want to like, boom, boom, bam, there's my thing, and it's like, whoa, you just moved so much shit to make that happen. I mean, there's a whole community here,
Right.
and they just don't even like tap in and connect, and then they get mad when they get pushed out. So.
Right. And so it's another thing that you do, man, that I really got respect for, that I enjoy coming to, and that's that minority mixer, man. That was really cool on the Monday nights. For those that don't know, get a group of young entrepreneurs together,
First Monday of the month.
introduce themselves.
Correct.
Okay. They get a chance to introduce themselves, get a chance to network and meet each other and stuff. So it's a great place to get a good start and get your feet grounded, you know, around a bunch of people that's kind of doing the same thing, you know.
Damn right.
Yep.
Yeah,
So tell a little more about that.
For sure. Well, you know, and so I was talking about safe, you know, we're talking about safe spaces where, you know, places of feeling safe and expressive around people that are like you. And so, with my position as the state director for M4MM, one of the main things I wanted to do was to create a space for us to communicate about the issues, and to communicate and celebrate about the issues, and just feel and ask questions, and also to have an accountability check for myself, to make sure that I'm checking the boxes that need to be checked in the right ways, because that being on a rhythm of doing that every month, it makes sure I know that every month I've got to deliver for the community, you know what I'm saying? And so it helps really kind of keep me, because I'm all over the place.
Right.
And so it even helps me, it helps keep me more active with the organization. So, so M4MM is Minorities for Medical Marijuana is the largest minority advocacy organization for the cannabis industry in the world.
Nice.
Okay, where they can find you at on social media?
M4MM is at M4MM United on Instagram.
Instagram.
And also m4mmunited.org online.
Okay.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, and so we're in 3 different countries and in 30 different states, and I'm the representative for Missouri. And so there are basically 4 main quadrants of like programming and impact initiatives that the organization is broken down into, and in those 4 groups are a whole bunch of programs with directors and coordinators that are working in different ways to make sure that we have access to the industry, that we can be creative and be able to bring products from creation to a product line. Learning about hemp, learning about the medical benefits of the plant, keeping up with the politics, getting people out of jail. Like there's so many different parts that affect the black and brown and indigenous journey with cannabis that M4MM focuses around that. My job at the state level is to sharpen the spear on what issues matter the most for us here, now, in Missouri. Because every state has their own needs and is at a different pace.
Sure.
And so, the mixer is one of the ways that you can connect with the community through those initiatives, learn about the programs that are coming up. And because it's been a voting year, a lot of my time with M4MM has been spent talking about and organizing things that have to do with the election. Back in February of this year, I hosted a debate between 2 contending groups that wanted a petition to be signed, or wanted us to sign or they wanted us to sign petitions to get the vote on the ballot for adult use cannabis. It was Fair Access Missouri and Amendment 3 that Legal Mo 22, who ended up being the only one. But I set up a debate because instead of people were immediately asking me, well, you're the state director, how were you going to vote? And I said, well, instead of me just giving you some sort of blind or limited, what's the right word? Instead of me just giving into the divisiveness and giving no information or influence, I'd rather give information. That's it. It's like I don't want to influence, I'd rather inform.
Right.
And so, so the debate was the best way for me to create a forum where people could ask questions, and it would show no bias on my part, but I could ask some damn good questions because the best answer should bring itself to the front. And so it went really well, well enough that John Payne, the coordinator for Legal Missouri, just got back in the seat with me where y'all were present.
Right. And
for over 2 hours and 3.5 pages of questions at 10-point font with no spaces, we went in.
Straight in.
We went in, and he was, he was there for it the whole way, and I give him mad respect for that because, he didn't have to sit there.
Shout out John Payne, man. Appreciate that. Really do.
But yeah, so that's kind of like to bring it around from, what the mixer is, what M4MM as an organization is, and then kind of what I'm doing with it. It's like, so what happens after the election will kind of determine my next moves, other than just having our monthly mixer. From there, it's like, if it passes, then I immediately go into, basically, we're immediately going to go into accelerator mode, making sure that anyone that wants access to this program has all of the tools and the information necessary to have as much of a chance as anybody else. And that's going to take some work.
Yeah.
If it doesn't pass, then that changes my coordinates big time. And it in a lot of ways gives me time to kind of coordinate other parts of the program, and in other places there are a lot of things I'm not going to think about for a while.
True.
So if it doesn't pass, then we're going to be focusing a lot on DEI, or diversity, equity, and inclusion, with the existing companies that are here, and really continuing to find the ways to work us into the fold of these numbers at the corporate level.
Okay.
You know, that's one of the short terms.
True.
And for a minute,
That's the door.
Yes, that's good, man. Hey,
I'm
somebody
waiting for this one.
fight for
Oh.
our rights, man.
Oh, this is the best so far.
Right on, man. Appreciate it, man. We got a few
I mean, now
strands.
that's my personal.
Oh, that you tasted.
That's
from
my
us?
personal. I mean, that's my personal opinion. But this
Okay.
one is the one you grew.
Yeah.
So what's the rundown on what we've been smoking so far? We smoked.
Oh man, so I think we smoked some. What was the first one? I can't remember. Damn.
It was the,
Oh, it was blue slushies.
Yep.
Blue
No,
slushies.
no. That was the second one. The first
Oh,
one
that was
was
the
the. It was kind of musky.
Oh, it was cereal milk, supposedly. Light Depot. Yep.
Yep.
Some Light Depot cereal milk. It wasn't bad. And then we had the blue slushies. It wasn't top bud. It was like shake. And
It
then
was
now we
delicious.
smoking some HPG Dark Helmet.
Yeah, this is fire.
Right on, man. Living soil, organic soil, man.
Yeah,
You know,
it
I
feels
love the
good.
soil. Appreciate it, man. I put blood, sweat, and tears into it. So, it's a strain I've been growing for a couple years. It wasn't the original pheno. I had original pheno I lost, and then that's the second pheno. So, and hold it down, man. It's not like the original pheno, but it's close to it.
Yeah. So do you have just like one mother?
Yeah. I have one mother of it. Yep.
So speaking of pheno, I mean that's what you do. You teach people about pheno.
Yeah.
You're an actual professor.
Yes.
What you doing, man? You're just an overachiever, bro.
Man, you're everywhere,
You
dog.
just an
Take the hat off, put it
overachiever,
on.
man. God. So it's like you see like 5 minutes of idle time. You're like, man, what can I do to feel that?
Yeah. Not much of a sitter.
I'm the same way, man. I got so much stuff half done. It's crazy, man. But I'm gonna get back to it. I'm working on it. It's gonna be big when I get back.
Damn right.
It's
Yeah.
all a big plan.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So tell us about this, man. You actually teaching something.
Yeah, so I'm an adjunct professor for the Cannabis Science and Operations program at St. Louis University. And so,
SLU.
yeah, SLU. And shout out to the Jesuit Catholics for hiring black people to teach people about weed.
Like, y'all heard that. Shout out to you.
Okay.
Okay. We
I
don't
I wouldn't have thought about that. It wasn't I wouldn't have put those words together on purpose before, but SLU's been a really cool organization to start to work for, and
Cool.
there's a lot in their pedagogy and like their philosophy as like an organization that kind of, I don't want to say forces them, but it encourages them to look at humanitarian and like social issues. And so it's really in the heart of the school. It's not just because it's a trend, but there really are parts of their philosophy. Yeah. So, but yeah, so I teach the fundamentals course, and there's a whole program. So it's not just, it's like there's 101, 202, and then there are like offshoots depending on if you're going into industry or focus more on medical, and they have people that are way more well studied in those single, categories or subjects than I am. So I teach the fundamentals course of teaching people the fundamentals of growing, and we actually do grow plants. We don't grow cannabis, but we grow tomatoes.
Yeah.
And
Just like it though.
yeah, there's a lot of similarities. And if anybody grows cannabis, they're welcome to. They're welcome to share pictures. They just don't. They just get graded on the tomatoes. But and then we talk about the politics. So and it's more about how to study or read the law than it is about memorizing laws. So that you continue to use that skill long term of how to read law as the law changes.
Interpreting language.
Yeah, because it's always
That's a big part of it, man.
it's a living and breathing thing. So then we also talk about the history of the plant, and we talk about the medical benefits, and really break down the medical side. There's a chapter, there's a whole component on social justice, which is nice. And it's taught in a way that, I mean, I had an 18-year-old and I had a 67-year-old. There's a broad spectrum, and it's people of all different walks of life and different colors, and it was cool. I've never been a college professor, but I did it, and it was dope.
Right.
I started again next semester, but you know, I got a lot of really good feedback from all of my students and from the admin, you know, so I like it. I'm gonna do it again.
That's cool.
It's only gonna get better.
That's cool. That's cool. It's
That
that plant talk for you.
plant talk, man. Education for you, man.
Yeah, it'll save the world if we let it.
Yes, yes.
Hey, so what's the next events happening at the Cola Club, man? And how can you get involved with the Cola Lounge? Man?
Yeah, the next event is in like 18 hours or so.
18 hours.
We've got
It's a new
tomorrow.
location too. Tell us what a new location.
Yeah. So we just moved right across the street. We were at the old spot was at a second floor, which really broke me because there were a lot of folks that just literally couldn't get into the Cola because you had to get up terrible steps. I mean, even if you just have bad knees or your feet hurt,
Right, it's tough.
it sucks.
Yeah.
So
You smoke a lot of joints to get rid of that pain so you can make it up those steps.
Right. For the press.
Right.
For
But
the board.
that's cool though.
There for the
It's
board.
good. See, this man thinking about access to his building, so you got easier access now.
yeah,
Yes.
no, it's we're ground level, and we have we've got. It's not necessarily a bigger space. I mean, technically it's a bigger space. It just moves a little bit different. It's set up a little bit different. So, but everybody loves it. I love it, and we've been
I
literally
seen
doing.
it. It's dope, man.
Thanks.
Yeah,
We've been
we-
doing like overnights there just to like get everything going. We are hosting a fundraiser too coming up. Cash App the Cola STL. Bing.
What is that?
Cash App the Cola SDL.
I'm waiting after this.
Election.
After the election.
Okay.
Everybody's so focused on that right now. So.
Yeah, it is. It's crunch time.
I think we're gonna do a watch party. So tomorrow there's a puff pass and paint class,
Yes.
Pass and paint.
and then that's where you come, you puff, you pass, you paint. It's a guided class by a local artist. Her name is Shay, Style So Furious on IG, and she guides you through the experience. It's really laid back, so it's not super serious, but you're gonna make a nice piece of art. I mean, she does a really good job,
That's good.
and everybody has a really good time. And we intentionally make pictures that aren't just like, you know, weed leaves and shit, so that you'll hang it in your house or gift it to a friend
Sure.
or something like that. Not to say you wouldn't if it had weed leaf. I'm just saying.
Right.
The odds go up
Okay.
if it's not a bong, you know, with a smiley face on it.
Right.
But yeah, so we have that event tomorrow, and then I think we are gonna do a watch party on Monday or Tuesday for the
Watch party on Tuesday.
for the election, because it's my son's birthday, so I probably won't be there. Just heads up if anybody's there, I probably won't be there. But I am gonna open up the Cola for folks to come and watch the election and, you know, watch how it all rolls out.
Okay. And now on this puff and paint, is that like on a schedule where it's done like weekly or
Thanks for
every
asking.
2 weeks?
Yeah, thanks for asking. It's every other Saturday.
Every
So-
other Saturday, okay.
And then this Saturday, it'll be not the next one, if you want to do that.
Yep. And you usually can get the info on IG
Yep.
at the Cola Lounge.
Yeah, the Cola STL. Now, we're also bringing
The Cola
back,
STL, right?
thanks. And we're also bringing back our yoga series called Exhale. We have more space now to do yoga.
Yoga.
And I say it's a yoga series, but it's not just yoga. We've done sound healing. We've done like other types of guided meditation. But Exhale is a cannabis wellness series.
Okay.
And so that's on the third Friday of every month. And right now it's gotten big enough that we can't even host it at the Cola. We host it
Wow.
at Empire Hall, one block down.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
another little black-owned venue
Yeah.
that's bigger than mine. But so we do big stuff there. The mixer we do there too because it's gotten pretty big. So.
Yeah, it is.
Yes,
We were down there at one of the mixers down there. What's on? Is it on California?
Yep.
In Cherokee? Yeah.
So we'll bring it all the way down, away from all the business, because I'm a person, as a business owner, is always thinking business. It's always going business. So when you settle down and get away from everything, what's your favorite thing to do to just zone all of the way.
Oh yeah, well I'm a musician, so for me it's music. You know,
Cool.
and if I don't have access at the moment to play music the way that I want, you know, Stevie Wonder is always just a click away, and it's like. But so music is definitely my biggest release.
So,
And
in what way? Like listening to it, an instrument, you play?
yeah, so I play a lot of auxiliary percussion, and my main instrument that I play. Man, this is gonna get weird. This how much time you got? So
We're here, man.
I know you're
Talk,
on
man.
one. So I play in a 3-piece band that is sometimes a 4-piece. We're called the Only Ensemble, and we do what we call rap cinematic. It's like, I like to say it's like kind of like the backtrack to like a bank heist, but like you're robbing from like a really corrupt bank. You know, it's like some shit that's like,
Ooh, it's progressive.
yeah, it's like some
It
shit
sounds
that's
like
like kind of rowdy and maybe a little dark, but for all the right reasons, you know.
Cool.
Or maybe you're like kidnapping a drug kingpin that like, you know, does really bad things to people, and you're like bringing them to justice type shit, you know, dragging them in a bag. So it's kind of dark,
Right.
but
Okay.
the elements of the music are I play. It's like sorry, I'm just getting hella high. So I play I play a bass, like the low end bass that you would hear in a rap track.
Nice.
Then there's a vocalist, and then there's a drummer. And now to get more complicated, the bass that I play is a rendition of the Aboriginal instrument, the didgeridoo.
Okay.
So I built one with a slide in it like a trombone.
Oh, okay.
And I hook it up to a set of like 12 effects pedals or so.
Damn.
Distortion, sub-synth, you know, I've got
That's
a router
crazy.
that sends it over to the kick drum of my drummer. I've got one that goes over to my vocalist. And so I play the low end bass, but it's digital, so it sounds like, you know, something that you would hear coming out like an 808 or something.
Okay.
But I'm playing it with this weird trombone looking thing that I built myself with some help with some friends.
The mechanics to it is just like, what is he doing?
Yeah,
So cool, man.
it's wild to look at, and it's and the sound of the music is pretty rowdy too. It's like, you know, a little bit of, it's like kind of punk rock. It's kind of noisy. It's and then our lead vocalist is an amazing lyricist that like he raps in like 4 different styles, and so
That's the one with the rosin.
oh shit, here we go.
You getting caught up with 2 blunts, bro.
He been holding that joke.
That's why I gotta do this. Here we go.
Uh-oh.
Oh, do your
Hey,
thing.
dog.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, so, and then my vocalist Stan, he goes by 18 the Kind. You take that one first, I'm saying. And he has his own solo project. My drummer, his name is Cannon. He's an amazing drummer. But so we play, and then we also have a keyboardist and synth player Juan that jumps in when he can. And yeah, so we usually play like festivals, like music festivals, things that are like kind of like unique one-off events. We don't do like, we're just gonna go and play at the local bar type thing. It's usually for like a music festival or something like that. You know, we got to play Lou Fest before Lou Fest fizzled out. We got to play the year before the last year.
Oh, okay, cool. And you took that instrument out there, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. We would, and we like we won, and I don't even remember the category.
Where can we get some footage of that at? Or watch it, you know?
18 and counting in the only ensemble with no spaces.
Okay.
18 and counting with no spaces.
Yeah.
But YouTube, we got a bunch of videos on YouTube.
What channel, you know?
18 and counting.
18 and counting.
Also, we're on Spotify, the only ensemble, no spaces.
Gotcha.
You know,
Let the people know, man. You know what I'm saying? When they catch audio attributes, man, you know, you're talented in more than one way. You know what I'm saying? You know, your light shines in every avenue you pursue, man. And
That's cool, man.
Yeah,
Everybody got to have an out, man. So it's nice to have that, to be able
Sure.
to do some music and then being creative with it and taking it to another level. You're not copying nothing on the radio, and you know, it's nice and dark. You know, it might be some good theme music for a horror movie. You never know who could pick something up like that.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
very cinematic. Like it sounds like a lot of it is cinematic.
That's
But
what it sounds like, yeah.
yeah, it's dope. And you know, we I'd like to play more than we do. I've been saying some vulgar things about how bad I want to play music.
So, man.
I'm
There's something
like-
about that music, man. I'm a musician from way back too, man. I always got the paper drums for Christmas and
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, I wouldn't have them by New Year's because, you know, they're just paper drums, man.
What made you want to get start painting? When did you start painting?
I always liked art, and you know, just in my mind. And so when my mom got sick, I did a bunch of sketches taking care of her, and so she was collecting all my sketches. And then I just thought, man, it'd be cool to learn how to paint or do something like these, like that with these. So I just learned how to paint the sky, and learned how to paint foliage, and just one thing to another. And so I have a degree in architecture and structural engineering, so I've already been on the board doing a little kind of drawings anyway. So
Nice.
yep. So
Yeah, that's cool. It's kind of like you're able to like you saw it in lines and stuff, and you're able to like bring the lines to life. So, I saw that in your paintings, and like your lines are dope.
right on. Appreciate that. Yep.
Hell yeah.
It's some fun stuff, man. That's a little out for me. So yeah, but the music is cool too. So I was in in a band as a young kid. A singer moved upstairs from us, and then they rehearsed in the basement. And they said, if you know how to play the sax, you can be in the band. Instead of sitting on the steps watching all the time, but they didn't know when they left. I got on all those instruments.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. Yep.
Damn
But
right.
yeah, cool, man. So
That passion.
how can we catch up with you, man? I mean, you got phone numbers? I mean, did you
Yeah.
give out or emails or?
Yeah, the best route is really through my Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
through STL_Cannabis Club,
Mm-hmm.
or at the Cola Lounge.
At the Cola Lounge,
Yeah,
cool.
Either one of those works.
Cool.
And if people aren't on Instagram,
Mhm.
the best way is to email me
Mhm.
at info@CannabisClubSTL.
Got you.
Yeah.
Are you a grower?
I'm a hobby grower. So
Cool.
like, I started growing during COVID. The first plant that I grew was like a bonsai plant.
Mm-hmm.
So I like contorted it and wrapped it.
You know the strain of was bad seed or?
Yeah, no, the strain was it was Cecilia from Jay from Tree 14.
Okay.
Nice.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was the Cecilia.
How many weeks you go on?
Oh man, I don't even remember. I kept it longer than I was supposed to because
10
it was,
weeks?
it might have even been 11 because I just kept stripping it down. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, we bonsai, man. You don't get nothing done.
Yeah.
And
But yeah, so I started that, and then after that, and Jay was like, "Dude, just grow that weed,
just
man."
grow it.
He's like, "What are you doing to
What are
that
you-
plant?
Right.
Stop
And
it."
what you got every bit of 10 grams or some shit out of it?
But for real, dead ass.
Yeah.
But what it did though is that it taught me a lot about the stress of the
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes a lot.
And when you're focusing just on one plant and only a couple buds,
Yeah.
I knew every one of those motherfuckers.
Oh, damn right.
Yeah.
And so it like made it easy.
You see them bitches come to life and growth and man, just do their thing, start twinkling and sparkling and shit. Start milking up, ambering up, all of that, man.
Who put sugar on my book?
Especially if it's that first plant.
It gets all the love.
I remember I was in that motherfucker with the little magnifying thing, like, what's going on,
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now I've got some from my homie Blunt's Beans. You know Blunt's Beans?
Yeah, definitely.
Blunt beans, yeah.
Shout them out. Let them
Yeah,
get on the
that's
show,
right.
man.
Yeah.
Beans,
Get you on the show, bro.
My
Yeah,
boys
Tommy's
there.
the G, man.
Yeah.
His
Nate Paul.
and Davey, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we definitely got a few people
Yeah.
want to get on the show, man. It's just, we got to get more people on the show and they can be more confident on getting on the show.
Yep.
And I feel like they see more faces on here. They definitely
Hell
going to come
yeah.
on and,
Yeah, we got some pretty good genetics actually.
Definitely, man. Out the loop, man.
Been
Gang
cooking me
bang.
up with some good
Standing
stuff.
up from Missouri and St. Louis, period. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Straight up.
Stickies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That shit. We got some shit out the Midwest, that's smoking and growing and doing our thing too. So shout out all of us, man.
Fun fact, did you know that Missouri was the second largest hemp producer in the country before cannabis prohibition?
They're crazy. Mm-hmm.
Kentucky was number one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't know that.
All that farmland
Yeah.
in the south, heck yeah.
So we grew a lot of weed.
Yeah.
Cows and hemp.
Sure.
Yep,
It's in the bloodline.
yep, yep.
And the soil remembers.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, bring that back.
Man,
Mhm.
we got what you need. The amenities are there. They waiting on them to be released.
Yeah, man, so you got a last little note you want to drop to the folks, man? Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Well, you know, I guess the only thing is that we didn't talk about the election.
No,
The
we
election,
didn't.
okay,
We
yeah,
didn't.
yeah, let's do it.
And
Let's do
so
that.
I think that we could just, you know, because I know that we don't want to have this go too long, but
Mhm.
you could either ask a question or I could just kind of give you my perspective. If you had questions, you could ask them, or I could just kind of tell you.
Sure. I'll ask a question, and it may be a two-part question. So, you know, are we gambling if we wait a couple more years and don't get better opportunities? You know, not knowing what the economy's going to be and who's going to be in charge, and are we gambling? Are we losing an opportunity to maybe even be prosperous by the next 2 years and not be behind? You know, at that point, I mean, is this, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like,
Are
like
we
are we gonna miss?
losing?
Are we gonna miss? Is this like? Do we need to jump on the ship? Like, are we gonna miss the ship?
Yeah, and you know why everybody around us continue to you know get approved. I mean, it's inevitable it's gonna happen,
Mhm.
but it's not inevitable that the next time it go down, it's gonna be better opportunities.
Yeah.
Because the N word blew up 500% on Twitter the other day. Didn't hear about that? Yeah, because Elon bought Twitter.
Uh-huh.
He owns Twitter now.
Uh-huh.
And now it's open. You can say whatever you want.
Whoa.
Nigger, the word nigger
On.
went up 500% on Twitter. Yeah, so.
I mean, in a way, you know, it's like I kind of want to know where those motherfuckers are. That ass. It's like I'd rather know you're like that than not. But.
Exactly.
But
But you
yeah,
know, so opportunities is gonna be crazy. We don't know what
Yeah,
it's
you
gonna
like
bring
we don't
us.
know what it is. I hear you. So
You know,
the
do we need to get the crumbs now and fight a better battle by next time and say, hey, this shit ain't right. We need to amend it. We need to make it better.
Yeah, I think that I think it's hard to say because we don't. You know, it's hard to tell what the future will hold. You know what I'm saying? Now, I think that it's valid to have concern about that, to be worried about whether or not this is our opportunity, and if we don't do this, is this the best that we got? But it's just there are certain things that by the numbers are we're going to be waiting for either way. And so I guess for me, you know, like whenever let's talk about micro licenses for a second. Okay, so there are going to be 144 of them, I think, at least total, which is the number that's given to us in sum. But those are parceled out over basically a cumulative of 560-something days plus 250-something days plus 360-something days. And they're also spread out to 6 per congressional district.
Yeah.
So that means, and there are, I think, 9 congressional districts. So in our congressional district, there will be 6 micro license winners within
St. Louis area.
within the whole congressional district. And I can't remember how big it is. There will be 6 winners, and 4 of those will be cultivation licenses, and 2 of those will be dispensaries per congressional district. And then there's a time period of another 200 and some odd days before they would release another 6 licenses per congressional district. And then there's another waiting period of over 500 days for the next 6. And so that's still a lot of time. And it's also not that many licenses.
No, it's not.
And
Cause I wanted to, I'm thinking about applying, and I'm just looking at the numbers, and it's like, I don't
Well-
wanna just give away money.
well, and I asked that, and I asked, you know, like I said, you know, one of the questions that I asked John was, so if I was a rich white guy that moved into an affluently, like a dominantly minority and under the poverty line neighborhood within the last 3 to 5 years, I could apply for this and win? He said, well, technically, yeah. And I was like, there are a lot of rich white guys in my neighborhood.
Right.
You know, gentrification is, yeah, it's like, especially in places like Kansas City and in St. Louis, it's like gentrification is heavy right now. And motherfuckers will move into neighborhoods and get tax credits and shit doing it.
Definitely.
And then, you know, grabbing all the properties around. And
And then with the whole credit situation, you know, it's like that was like, what was that put in there for?
so, right, so there's that piece, and then there's also the sharing, you know, that we would have to share this also with veterans. And so, when we're looking at the piece of the pie, and then the piece of the pie, and the piece of the pie, it's like, I mean, yeah, we could all go in for it. But it's like, you know,
Oh, nice.
it's definitely, it's not gonna be as heavily as fruitful as, you know, when you look at 144 licenses, that at least sounds like a lot. But once you have gone through in like the next set, I mean, there are two different ways to look at it. The next group that gets released, those people could learn from the first group's mistakes. That's one way to look at it. They could also, though, be trying to build up in a market that now has already started with these competitive micro license holders. And now they have to start up while these others are already ahead.
Established, yeah.
And so and I think that both things are valid. Like, I think that both are you know, both are pieces on the board. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But again,
It's business.
there's just, it's one thing to say that it is going to make the adult use market more open and leave less people incriminated. But to say that we're being given like a real element of access to the industry, because then the other part is, bro, is like if you go in with, like, you can't even own 2 licenses.
No, not micro.
So you can't be, and I was talking to the dude, and I brought this up, I was talking to the owner of that coffee shop today. I was like, he operates his whole business in one shotgun. He roasts in back,
Yeah.
he packages in the middle, he serves in the front. It's like,
Boom, boom, boom.
boom, boom, boom.
Out the door.
And he's just like, I couldn't survive as a business if I couldn't do all these
I can
places.
do all, yeah.
I would have to outsource to all these other places, and like, I wouldn't be the same type of business. I wouldn't be boutique.
Right.
This is what he said. I wouldn't be craft anymore.
Right.
Because I'd be having to go and outsource to something that was bigger. So, I think that if there are, going back to your question, yeah, we could be left with a situation where we don't have those opportunities. And we could be left in a situation where a lot of people's existing records that are walking on the street are going to be, at least have marks not on their record anymore. But y'all heard what I heard about how many
7
prisoners.
a year?
7.
For 6 million?
Yeah. So it's like, and this is what we're being left with. So there are only going to be less than literally a handful of people that are actually going to be getting out of prison a year, because the people have some other charge that's attached to their case that they
Besides
keep.
marijuana?
Yeah, whatever it is. So, again, it's just a thing, when you look at the numbers and you're like, okay, this many people's records will be helped, yes. But whenever it's like, you know, and the other piece on the board is that you are preventing people from getting arrested more often.
And our plant count goes down, right? Correct?
Yes.
Our
So it's
plant
like
count and
there are
home growers.
there are benefits Two, what would happen? People would benefit, and there are like ways that it will help things move forward. But there are a lot of ways that we're not actually going to be part of that moving forward. And especially, I've already had 2 rich white dudes come to me and ask if they could partner with me to get a micro license. Did this as soon as they released the language and saw that I had a lounge.
Right.
It was like, hey.
For the area code, right? Or
Yeah, well, yeah, no. And because he knew,
Mm-hmm.
and he knew because he knew where I lived.
Yeah.
He knew where I lived, and he knew if there's any provision in here that's going to benefit people of color, that I need to be attached to a person of color.
And I heard people buying it too.
He's the perfect person. He's a shoe in.
Yeah,
You know, he's
definitely.
like, okay, we get this guy on our team.
So I was like,
With
you
his
know,
credentials, check it out. So.
yeah. So so again, there's going to be.
They gonna try to publish you a little bit too.
I don't think he will.
It could.
Yeah.
It could have been. You know what I'm saying? But all I'm saying is that I created enough boundaries to where I was just like, I could see what was happening. Where the same way as.
morals than.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is morals, but it's also just like I have strategy, right? Because I understand why someone would take that opportunity. Like, I understand when somebody be like, yeah, I'm gonna get that back.
Right.
Like, I get it. But I think that really, for me, I saw it like how whenever there were national brands that were coming to Missouri,
Yeah.
how Missourians were being sought out because those national competitors needed a Missourian in the door.
Right.
Which that's not the case now. They've amended that, so you don't have to be a Missourian to have
No,
a business here.
They went to court over that, didn't they?
Right, yeah. But that was a thing, right? Where it's like, so a lot of people were sought out just to be someone's Missourian and either were moved to the side or were bought out, especially in these type of transitions now. Or, those companies didn't last because who knows that karma. But yeah, so no straight answer on it because there are a lot of pieces on the board.
Oh, it is, man.
But there are a lot of things that, that need to be taken into consideration for anyone that's voting.
Sure. Yep. And so I understand that point of view. If you are in that type of business, in the cannabis industry, if you're in the cannabis industry, you may be on the fence about some things that's going on. But as like a typical smoker, that's not really, they're not even looking at that point of view.
Oh, no. Like, and especially whenever there's a lot of language being used. Now, I will say that the only thing that's really starting to lash against them is that, because as much as I've held their feet to the fire and I've kept things spicy, as far as like the conversation,
Right.
like I made sure I didn't lose an opportunity, there are other folks out here that are giving heavy, what's the word, opposition, thank you. Thank you to my other self. Opposition to the amendment, like the Missouri chapter, the Missouri NAACP chapter. There was one subset of that group that did sponsor the amendment, but that wasn't the state chapter. Also, the mayor has spoken out against it. Also, the Young Democrats organization in St. Louis. Also, the Democratic Black Caucus has spoken out in opposition to
And
it.
the police, United, they was worried about their school drivers not being able to lose their job.
Well, and apparently they just put their logo out without getting, because the NAACP just sent them a cease and desist on using their logo on the ads. So there's a lot put out there.
So when you think about that, though, are their motive, is that benefiting us because they're doing that? Because they're doing it for other reasons, right? You're not doing it because of the reasons we should be voting, like not getting our portion of the licenses.
No, I mean, most of these black organizations
I
are
mean, the
speaking.
police, they don't
Oh,
care
the
about-
police, that's not that, but most of those are black Democratic organizations.
And the Democratic organization, they're not thinking about the licenses and stuff, they just don't want it to be legal.
No. Most of the statements that have been made by both the mayor, and by the state chapter for the NAACP.
Okay.
They have all of those are have all made statements, also saying that that this is basically not as advantageous to minorities as they're presenting it.
Right, okay.
And have also just given hard opposition, so, and that's the stance that they've taken, but the biggest piece I think is just looking at the fact that there's this interesting dovetail of different types of organizations that are putting up doubt, and, there's, it's.
I know
it's a
John
lot.
Payne's got I think it's a young lady, a black young lady that's supposed to be, making sure that the initiative was fair to minorities and stuff. Maybe we need to get in touch with her. Did you see her on his committee? She's on the website and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know that there was some oversight from, they did have oversight from, like I said, the St. Louis, I think it was the St. Louis County chapter of the NAACP, and then the previous director for M4MN was at the table for some time, but then at some point was not involving herself anymore. But that was before I was involved in the organization. So.
And so, like, if it don't pass, I'll be willing to get involved in anything that needs to be done to push whatever has to be done. Because it's gonna take a group of people to get together and make happen what we want to happen, as far as minorities being happy with the licensing, the ability to grow what we want to grow, and any other thing that's got to do with it. We shouldn't be denied to have opportunities, just like the people who got the money and things like that. So
yeah, well, and like the amendment, the legal note folks will say, well, we can add more and we can adapt it in the future, but it's harder to do that to a constitutional amendment than it is to do to legislative language.
Sure.
And their answer would be, well, the legislature doesn't work with us that way on this issue. And that's a fair argument. So.
Fair argument. Yep, most definitely. Yep. So yeah, man, this all some good stuff. It's all good to know. There's different views, different advantages, disadvantages, and I don't know. I just hope we don't miss out on opportunities and hold ourselves back from people that are creative enough to take advantage of the law change. Don't be discouraged if it, if you're voting against it. Don't be discouraged if it goes through. If it goes through, or don't go through, don't be discouraged if you voted for it.
That's right. And also, just looking at what the medical platform has for us now, and knowing that there are ways that you can be innovative right now. There are ways that you can do that right now.
And we can all band together and meet somewhere in the middle.
That's right.
Right there in the middle, and we all happy. What's gonna go down? That's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for. Right. Hey, it's about ready time to wrap this thing up. You can follow the GrowHeads on Instagram. You can follow Loud Bank on Instagram and Twitter and all the other social networks. Shout out to HBG for being in the house tonight. Of course.
Yeah, man, me, T being the co-host, man, it was a blast, man. I appreciate it. It was an honor, being here with AC at the Loud Bank and also with Brennan England.
Most definitely having this brother in the house makes a difference.
You catch us at _HBG 2019.
Yes, sir.
Instagram.
Yeah, thanks y'all for
having me. And with your info one more time, man.
One more time.
So Instagram handles are STL_Cannabis Club. That's CANNABISCLUB. Also at the Cola Lounge. Also, you can get us at stlcannabis.club. That's our website.
Get you one of them puff paints, boy. It's a good time.
Hell yeah.
And you get to take home a piece of art.